How's it going, everybody? My name's Shane, and welcome back to the Horror Basement for a very special episode of the classic horror review series. This is actually our grand finale. This is the big 5-0 for this particular series. When I started this channel about, let's say, 2.5 years ago, I was like, damn, there are a whole lot of movies out there. How am I going to pick which ones I want to talk about? It turns out the picking movies I want to talk about is really easy, but in my foolishness, having never ran a YouTube channel before, I decided I would pick up a DVD box set that I already owned, which I'll show you now in this picture because I'm too lazy to walk upstairs and get the one that I have in my house. I was going to take that and watch all 50 movies on there because it says the word classic right on the box, so they should all be good. And I picked a few out of there and watched them that I already heard of. Your obvious ones, your Night of the Living Dead, Nosferatu, Phantom of the Opera with Lon Chaney, the heavy hitters of the series. But it turns out there were a lot more movies that weren't so great. But thankfully, for our last one, here's a movie that I actually really enjoyed, and I am happy to tell you about. Today we're talking about Nightmare Castle from 1965. It opens in a luxurious manor, of course, with a basement that doubles as a mad scientist's laboratory. So we're already checking a lot of the boxes that we've seen repeated a couple times as we went through these 50 movies. But we meet some of our principal characters. Stephen is the owner of this big house and the mad scientist to the laboratory. We meet his young, beautiful wife, Muriel, his old hag maid, a lady by the name of Solange, who is played by a young woman in very bad age makeup. And we meet a young fellow by the name of David, who appears to be some kind of farmhand servant guy. So Dr. Stephen is going off to one of his fancy medical conferences, and Muriel takes this opportunity to do one of her favorite things, which is to fuck David, the servant man boy. But it turns out that Dr. Stephen didn't actually leave, and he quickly knocks Stephen out and has both Stephen and Muriel tied up to a wall, where Muriel says to him, "You're a monster." And this audio clip of her saying that was actually sampled in the beginning of Eminem's hit song Godzilla. So when I heard that, I was like, man, that sounds familiar. But anyway, Stephen ends up killing both Muriel and David. And in order to secure the remaining wealth from Muriel's family, because despite the fact that Stephen is the scientist man, he actually married Muriel, the beautiful young raven-haired vixen, for her money. So in order to get the rest of the money, Stephen marries Muriel's younger sister by the name of Jenny, who is played by the same actress that played Muriel, Barbara Steele, who really shines in the dual role here. So as you would expect, and obviously Stephen covers up the murder. But as soon as Jenny moves into the house, she becomes haunted and basically possessed by the vengeful spirit of Muriel. And with her having weird dreams and psychic disturbances, Stephen calls in a colleague of his, a psychiatrist by the name of Dr. Joyce, who Stephen plans to have Joyce examine and commit Jenny to an insane asylum so he could have sole control of their family's estate and finances and all that. And once we have all our main characters here, this is when the movie, this is an Italian production, by the way, this movie devolves into a little bit of melodrama, where you have Dr. Stephen, who loves only money. You have Solange, who has been made young by a serum that Dr. Stephen has made from the blood of both Muriel and David. So she is now out of her bad age makeup, and she is in love with Stephen, who does not love her back because he only loves money. But she loves him and being young and beautiful. Not as beautiful as Barbara Steele, but she's still better looking than she was when she was old. And then you have Jenny, who thinks she's in love with Dr. Stephen, but is actually in love with Dr. Joyce, who shows up and is the only person that treats her like a human being and kind of like supports her in her life. So this movie has a runtime of, I believe, 90 minutes. And I wrote down in my notes about here in the middle of the page, like, the movie kind of drags in the middle. So we get a fair amount of melodrama, some conniving from Stephen, some romance boiling between Jenny and Dr. Joyce. And then the movie finishes off in the very satisfying manner that we've come to expect from any horror movie that has a secret mad scientist laboratory. Basically, the house is put under siege by the avenging spirits of both Muriel and David. Because of their shenanigans, the lab and also the house itself go up in flames. Solange is murdered by a ghost and reverts back into an old lady and then a skeleton. And our two lovebirds, Jenny and Dr. Joyce, escape as the house is burning to the ground. And with that, all of the problems our heroes faced evaporate into the ash as it goes up into the sky. So very nice classic horror ending. The laboratory is on fire, everybody is getting killed, and it all wraps up in a nice little bow for our heroes. So that's going to be it for today's video and the classic horror review series. All 50 videos will be in a playlist so that you can view them in order if you really want to. I will admit some of the videos probably seem a lot rougher in the beginning. Didn't have this down pat as skilled and professional as I am now. But hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, hit that subscribe button. Tell me which one, if any, of these movies that I've talked about for the past 2.5 years were your favorite, and leave a comment with any other classic old school horror movies you'd like to hear my thoughts on. Thank you all so much for watching. This damn box set has been a huge part of my life. And here's to some even more fun content going out in the future. Bye-bye. Thank you.